Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to Ancient Issues. It's one of the member benefits for the Chamber of Commerce. We have different people that speak. The last Thursday of every month we've had Congressman Berkenda, we've had our fire chief, our police chief. It's always a different speaker. The Thursdays this time we have our brand new police chief, Dan Adams. We'd also like to thank, today you're in OC Fish, okay? OC, and it's owned by the fellow right there. His name is Mike Flynn. Let's hear it from Mike. So you're welcome to submit questions to the police chief. Berkenda is our hostess today, and we're on Facebook Live, so she's going to interview the chief, so it'll be on the social media, but at the same time, if you guys want to be part of it, you certainly can ask questions. So with that, let me give it to Berkenda. Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Al. Well, welcome everybody, and I want to do just a quick hi address to Facebook. So hi Facebook, my name is Berkenda, Vice Chair of Events. Today with me we have Dan Adams. So just a couple of reminders for everybody here. As Al said, we definitely want this to be an open format. This is a chance for you guys to speak with the chief and just get to know him a little bit better. For those of you on Facebook, unfortunately we won't be taking any questions from Facebook today because you were on my cell phone and I cannot read that far. So sorry about that. But with that, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the City of Orange Police Chief Dan Adams. Chief Adams' career with the City of Orange began as a reserve police officer in 1989. Less than 1 year later, he was hired full-time and attended the Orange County Sheriff's Police Academy. For the first part of his career, Chief Adams worked as a patrol officer, field training officer, warrant officer assigned to the narcotics unit, canine handler, corporal, and was one of 2 officers assigned to develop and start policing services at the new block at Orange shopping facility. That must have been fun. Mm-hmm. Chief Adams worked as the department's training manager for 4 years, where he was instrumental in the proposal, purchasing, and implementation of the TASER program. He restructured the pre-academy training program and the department's annual training plan, along with designing and opening an off-site police training facility. Just to give you kind of a little history of his tenure with the station, in 2004, he was promoted to sergeant and returned to Field Services Division. 2011 was selected to lead the gang unit, where he supervised personnel in a very small proactive unit dedicated to reducing gang crime. In 2016, he was promoted to lieutenant. 2019, promoted to captain and spent time commanding the support services and field services divisions. So Chief Adams has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, is a proud graduate of the Sherman Block Supervisory Leadership Institute and various executive leadership courses. Through his career, he has been honored as Officer of the Year, Supervisor of the Year, and National Management Association Manager of the Year, and is an OPD Medal of Distinction recipient. He is the 35th police chief in the City of Orange's history and only the 3rd to be homegrown, spending his entire career with the city. Please join me in welcoming our newest chief.
Thank you, Berkenda. Thank you. Thank you.
So, I know that you were busy. I saw that you guys take well over combined 60,000 calls in a year. So we are so happy you're here today. Tell us a little bit about what's been happening over, I guess, the past 35 or so days that you've been here.
Man, well, I've spent 31 years at the department, so my whole career, my whole adult life has been at Orange PD. Man, this first month or so has been quite a whirlwind. A lot of chiefs told me that being chief, my sleep habits would change, and I don't, and it did, but I don't worry about what's happening in Orange overnight, because we have such a great group of leaders that run the department every day. My worry has been how many people are going to get COVID. How many, are we doing the right things? Are we on the right path? Managing the pandemic from a police perspective, when our profession deals with close contact with people. Our cops and everybody that worked outside, nobody got to go home and work from home. Everybody had to come to work every day, and it's been tough. So transitioning that right into the first 35 days of being chief, where we thought everything was going to, everything was winding down and we were looking good, and then all of a sudden, as soon as I take over chief, it's like, oh no, we're going back this way, and so that's probably been the biggest challenge for me in the first month or so as being chief. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but One thing with me is I'm all about positivity. I'm big into being a positive person, and I try to make positive out of everything. So that's why you see me at these events, or you see me at any event, I'm always smiling. I'm happy to talk to people. I'm happy to meet. I'm very accessible too. So so far, long answer, sorry. One thing Berkenda forgot to mention, and by the way, the words on that iPad are really small. I don't know how you're doing it. But I was our spokesperson for 6 years at the police department, back when I was a sergeant. So I'm really good at spinning questions. And so just so you know, I don't know how long.
You like.
She sent me a bunch of questions. I said, just ask me a couple and I'll talk the whole hour. So you got to tell me when to stop here.
No, that's what I'm counting on.
All right, cool. There we go.
Well, as a third homegrown chief, tell us about that. Like, how did you decide to go into law enforcement and just, kind of plant here and grow?
It's a totally bizarre story. I went to Orange High. Well, let me tell everybody a little bit about myself. Is that okay?
Definitely.
So, I was born at St. Joseph Hospital. I was raised here. I went to school here. I met my wife at Orange High School. Got married in Orange. Raised our kids in Orange. I still live in Orange. So, when you mention the word homegrown, I think Mark Murphy and a few others are probably the only close to that. Mark's known me since I was a little kid. I actually brought my dad today, sitting back there. My dad, everybody said, how come you didn't bring an entourage? I said, I brought my dad. He's my entourage. But he owned a business in Orange. I think was a member of the chamber back in, I don't know, a long time ago. And I was working at his company, and it was a friend of mine said, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a cop?" My goal was to be a professional basketball player, like everybody, right? Everybody's goal is to be a professional something and make a lot of money. And I think I was sweeping the floor at the business up on Glasell, and somebody goes, "You should try it." So I went on a ride along with a friend of my dad's in Fullerton. He was a K-9 officer, and I was hooked. So I had a lot of people grow up. Sorry, I'm holding water. A lot of people grow up in the becoming an explorer or a cadet, or starting at 16, wanting this. Nothing. 19 years old, turning 20. Walked into a job interview, which you could never do today, wearing I think shorts and a t-shirt, and they're like, "Yeah, you seem like a nice guy. We'll hire you as a reserve officer." Well, I lived at home, so I didn't have any responsibilities. So I worked as a reserve police officer every day, 7 days a week. And 6 months later, they said, "Hey, you're pretty committed. I think we'll hire you as a regular full-time officer." And then it just went from there. So totally got in kind of on a whim. A friend of mine said, "This looks cool. You should try it." And that's how my whole career started. So, and then I've been very fortunate to work almost every assignment in the police department. So it's been a great career. I could have hung it up. Tom, I have 31 years in our retirement system. Tom Casella and I are very good friends, and we had a really long talk about there wasn't really anybody ready. We spend a lot of time succession planning, but to be the chief, you got to have a lot of experience. You have to have a lot of institutional knowledge, and you have to know a lot about what's going on, not only in the department, but in the community. So he said, well, either I'm going to stay or you need to be chief. And it wasn't like a forced thing, but I felt like he'd been here 35 years. He'd been chief for almost 6 years. It was time for Tom to retire, and I was more than happy to stay for a few years while we get somebody else ready to be the next chief. So, sorry, long answer.
Nice. That's awesome. Thank you. That's pretty cool, because I know a lot of people begin as explorers, and they kind of have that in their head heading into, heading into life. Like, so that 16, 15, 16, they're kind of doing that already, but that's awesome that you started at 19 and have been here this entire time. So what does a typical day look like? I talked to Sandra. Sandra, thank you so much, your executive assistant, and learned how many calls you guys have. And so I think it was 12,000 or so 911 calls last year, about 50,000 non-emergency calls. How does that work? What does your dispatch look like? What's a day look like for you?
It's crazy. Well, a day for me as the chief, fortunately I don't have to go to any of those calls. But yeah, we could get over 100 calls a day. To our officers. So our dispatch center is full-time, 24/7. We have 4 to 6 people either answering the phone, dispatching regular calls, dispatching 911 calls. and then we have anywhere from 8 to, depending on the time of day, 8 to 15 police officers out there at a time who handle all these calls. But yeah, we do. We go to about 80 or 90,000 calls a year, and we could get a lot depending on the day. You know, like during Street Fair weekend, we'll have a big spike in calls. But yeah, our a day in the life of a police officer is pretty busy, challenging, and every day is different for sure.
Speaking of Street Fair, are you looking forward to Street Fair?
What's the politically correct answer on that? So,
yes.
Sure, I love the Street Fair. I'm glad the Street Fair is back.
Yes.
And I hope everything goes well. I actually ran our police operations for the Street Fair for 5 years back when I was a sergeant, and I was telling, I think the Coddles over there at the table, that when you're in charge of the police at a huge event, you're excited for about 5 minutes, and then after that, you just want it to end. So I love the Street Fair. I love that it highlights downtown Orange. I love that people come from all over the place to visit. It's fingers crossed for a safe event every year that we have it. And so I'm excited that it's back.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be super crowded. We're ready. We have a full staff. I actually just got briefed on our policing plan yesterday.
Okay.
And we're all ready for it, and we just hope everybody comes and is safe and drinks responsibly and has a really good time enjoying our downtown area.
Well, we have a beer booth this year, so we are going to serve responsibly.
Good.
I promise. Right over there.
All right, cool.
Mexico side over there.
Cool.
Crime. So with COVID, people being at home and then kind of released out into the wild, per se, how has that been? Has it really affected crime in the city of Orange and how you guys work on a day-to-day with the community?
So our crime did increase during the COVID year, and that was twofold. Part because there was a lot of people out of work. There was probably some more not violent crime, but property crime that was occurring that you could probably attribute to COVID. We've also, during the same time, and I'll try not to get political, but there were some pretty bad laws passed that did not help law enforcement or communities at all. And the very people that live in communities in California passed these laws to let criminals out of jail early, or just to empty jails because they didn't want COVID. Well, twofold: they didn't want COVID in jail. Plus, they just wanted to get people out of jail.
Right.
So we saw a lot of early releases from prison and county jail as well, and that definitely created an increase in crime for us because we saw a lot of repeat offenders. We saw a lot of people reoffend. We would arrest them, they'd go to jail. Jail would kick them out a couple days later because they didn't want them. They didn't want a COVID risk, and then they reoffend because, unfortunately, a lot of street level criminals who just do that to get by, they're always going to reoffend. So that it did definitely impacted our crime picture. But we meet once a month to analyze our crime, all the supervisors in the police department, and then we develop strategies going forward. Hey, what's our crime picture? What's going on? How are we going to attack this? And what resources do we need to do it? So we're managing it. We'll never make crime go away. My goal is, every chief's goal would be to eliminate crime, but realistically, reducing crime is all we can do, and at times, really all you can do is manage it.
Right.
So that's what our monthly meetings, where's the crime, where do we need to put our resources, and how do we need to address it so that we can reduce crime?
Okay. And that kind of leads me into our next question, which is homelessness. I know that was one of your initiatives, kind of long-standing, over the past several years, but I'm guessing that probably has also had an effect on people being released early, not having anywhere to go. But I guess what's going on with the homelessness here in Orange as far as your department's concerned? Yeah,
it's the same thing as crime. I don't think ending homelessness is realistic. I think managing homeless, and I think getting people who want to not be homeless into housing is the way to go. Unfortunately, there's a lot of homeless people who don't want housing because what comes with housing? Rules. And a lot of homeless people don't want rules. So that's an issue that we see. We work every day. I know a lot of the stuff that's come out in the media about Mary's Kitchen recently says, and even some politicians have come by and said, hey, City of Orange doesn't do anything. That's not true. We have been working for years to try to help Mary's Kitchen specifically. I'm sure that would be a question, so I'll just answer it now. To help Mary's Kitchen specifically get into what's called the continuum of care, where they try to help get these folks shelter, homelessness, and other resources that are going to make people become more productive citizens. Right now, Mary's Kitchen has turned into a day-to-day maintenance center for the homeless life. So if you just want a meal, socks, laundry, and things like that, that's where you would go. Where what we were looking for is we need to find a way to get homeless people off the street. And we do see people that want that, but we do have a lot of homeless folks in Orange. I'm sure some of you have them near or in front of your businesses that just don't want that, and they just like to live the lifestyle of being homeless. And it's definitely a challenge for us. But like I said, it's managing it, and it's at the end of the day, we're trying to get everybody the help they want. A lot of people don't see that, or some people in the media don't want to believe that, but we truly are. We're actually having a navigation day at Mary's Kitchen tomorrow, the first of a series, where we're going to be down there with a bunch of county resources, offering folks services more specifically. We have a team that does it all the time. Am I talking too much?
Nope, you're good.
We have a team that does it full-time, our Heart team. You guys have probably heard about them. They're our homeless engagement team, and that's all they do full-time is they try to get people shelter, they try to get people resources. We've actually connected people with going home. Like, hey, I'm from Seattle. I've never been able to get back to Seattle. We're like, hey, you want to go to Seattle? We'll see what we can do to help you. Now, obviously, we have to make sure that somebody's picking them up. We connect them with a family member, a relative, or something like that. We would never want to be known as people who just want to ship people out. We want people to get the help they need. So, sorry, long answer on homelessness.
That's a great answer on homelessness. Well, I wanted to ask you about a couple of the citizens programs that you have. I know you have a Citizens Academy coming up, and then also CERT is coming up. I think Citizens Academy is starting September 8th, CERT the 28th. Can you tell us a little bit about those and why somebody might want to be involved in one or both of those?
Yeah. So, how many people have done Citizens Academy in here? There's got to be some.
Two people.
Yeah, you guys should all do it. It's a lot of either business leaders, business owners, people running for public office and it's just to learn more about the police department. You get like full access for, I think it's 8 weeks into the police department. You do have to go through a little background check to get in, but you learn about every program we offer, every department or every division in our department, what everybody does in the department. You get to see the SWAT team, the canines, the motor cops, everybody in it, and it's a really eye-opening experience, as I'm sure you can attest, to learn what the police department actually does. I think there's a lot of people that still believe that the police department is made up of 5 or 10 people who go from place to place and police it and do a couple other things and then go home and the next 10 come on. We have a full operation of almost 300 people who work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and these 2 programs are just a couple of dozens of programs that we offer. So that's Citizens Academy. We just kicked off, or we're just doing applications for the next one, and then we'll do another one. We were going to scale it down, but I said I wanted to go full bore with it, and I want to do everything. I want to get back should I say the word normal? Because I know it's a tough one to say, but I want to try to get back there. So if things are going in the right direction, we're going to open up kind of how we were before COVID. So Citizens Academy is a really cool program. It'll be my first one as the chief. When Tom was the chief, he would come and start every meeting and answer questions. So every Tuesday for like 20 minutes, you could hang out with the chief and ask questions about what's going on. And it's definitely beneficial to you guys because you can ask specific questions about about what's going on in your business area or neighborhood. CERT is the Community Emergency Response Team training that we do with the fire department, and we train people basically to be emergency responders in your own neighborhood. So you go through this big, long, I don't know how many weeks it is, coursework, us, the fire department. There's some other companies that are involved, and then you are taking that experience and that expertise you developed in the CERT program back to your neighborhood. So if there was ever an earthquake or a major event, we wouldn't call the CERT folks back. We're training you to be kind of an emergency responder for your own neighborhood. So it's a super cool program, and that fills up all the time too.
Yeah, it seems like it's amazing. It was actually when we had our Leadership Orange spends, I believe, a day with you, and so that was something I left thinking like I want to do that, and then COVID happened, and so that didn't happen for me. But it's on our list for sure of like making sure people know, and if you guys have any information you'd like us to post or cross promote for those, letting people know that those are open again, we would love to do that. Sandra, if you could send me information, we'll get that posted for you. As far as the moments over the past year, like is there anything that sticks out as like a really good moment, something your department was able to assist with that was just kind of a good win for you guys?
I thought I wrote something down. I don't think specifically like there was one thing. I think we got through COVID pretty good as far as our police department goes, and the city staff as well. A highlight for me right off the top of my head is we've had more people want to be police officers in the city of Orange in the last year than anybody could have imagined. We for sure thought it would have been a down year with COVID, plus with all the defunding the police stuff that happened. We didn't think any police department would be attractive, and we saw a lot of retirements, and we were concerned that we weren't going to get a lot of people, but we had more people not only come from other police departments, leaving LA County, which is a completely different topic we could spend an hour on, leaving LA County because there are things that are going on there and coming here. So I would say a highlight for us is navigating the pandemic successfully and hiring more cops than we normally do in a year. So it was a great year for us.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, a couple things. I do have a couple more questions for Chief Adams here, but does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask? You guys want to think? Okay, I see a question. Can you?
Shout it out?
Yes.
Shout it out, Wendy.
If there's any, does the department have needs that maybe businesses in the community can help with? Any needs you guys have on the horizon that we can maybe help with?
Well, we all like cookies. So
the question that was asked was, does the department have any needs that the community can help with?
I think honestly it's just the support. Like I said, we're all about caring about this community. That's one of my biggest goals going into the department. It's probably our next question. Is caring about the community, and we want to make sure that the community knows that. I do as the leader. And so the support from all the businesses, the support, one of the reasons why I'm here not today and not in 6 months is because, somebody said, hey, you're going on the speaking circuit kind of quick. And I'm like, I want everybody to know that this police department cares about our businesses. We truly care about our residents. So I think just the continued support, we love it when we get cards, even cards. Some people do bring cookies and stuff, but that really means a lot to the police officers, especially in this last year and a half, which has been really challenging, not only with the COVID, but with the all the defunding the police stuff that didn't happen here, obviously, because we have a very supportive city leadership. But yeah, any support is welcome. But that's all we ask for, and for people to say hi, to cops and thank them for their service.
Nice. Thank you for that question.
I think it was, will we have a higher police presence at the street fair? We do have more police officers than normal working the street fair. We're actually going to have more on the outside working the street fair. We have less police explorers this year because police explorer programs, we use explorers from around the county, and due to COVID, a lot of those groups haven't built back up. So we have less of those. So because of that, they were kind of our perimeter, where they would let us know if it looked like there was something brewing, on the outsides. Mm-hmm. So we'll have a little bit bigger presence. I don't know that you'll see it. We'll probably have some more undercover people, which gives us a little edge up. You'll probably see some people on the roofs like we've done in previous years. A couple of years ago, we had a camera system, a special camera system installed in the middle of the Plaza Park, but we're not doing that because we have the new camera. The city has the new camera system, which is you can zoom in on. I know it sounds scary, but if you wanted to, like those cameras are so high tech, you could zoom in on somebody's menu
Could they read
at a
this?
restaurant. It could probably read those words, which are very small.
Bill.
Are you using the implementation of drones?
We do have drones. We have a drone team. They're called the Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Unit. Still figuring out all our
Aerial
units.
vehicle, okay.
So we do have drones. I think we have 4. You actually have to go to classes to be certified, and they're actually called pilots. It's kind of interesting. So I've learned a lot about the drone program. So we have different ones. We have small ones that we can actually fly. Like if we needed to come in here, we could fly a drone in the front door, go all the way back to any
That's a
closed
lot.
doors, and then come back out, and we could watch the whole thing on high definition TV from wherever it's uplinking to, whether it's a command post or just a TV in our police station. So we've used them. We've had a couple SWAT things in the last year where we've actually used the drone to go in before we've had to send people in. So it's cool for us. It's
For
good
safety,
for
that would
our
be good.
safety. And then it's also good for when we did have the protests in the plaza. There was a couple of them where you didn't see a big police presence because we were all watching on a 90-inch TV screen, and the drone was doing it for us. So the first couple we had to have people here because there were so many people at the protest. But then when it kind of wind down a little bit, we used our drones as our kind of first look at what was going on. So super beneficial.
Question for you. So let's talk goals for this, your tenure of what's going to go on for the next year or so. What are your goals for the community and for your department?
So I'm keeping it really simple.
Yes.
Obviously, our number one goal and of every police chief should be to reduce crime. So we're going to work every day to reduce crime, manage crime, get crime to be at a point where we don't need to do more things because it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So it's a goal for me for us to do that every day.
Okay.
So every day our supervisors are working on what's our crime picture look like. We do have, like I mentioned, we have a monthly meeting, but we're actually every day we're focusing on reducing crime and what can we do. So that's always number one. Number 2 is deliver exceptional customer service. I use the word exceptional. I'm using some big words which haven't been used in our department for a while, but I'm doing it on purpose because I want people, our employees, to think better than average or competent, like elite, or I'm using the word excellence. All of our employees their goal is to strive for excellence in all they do. And the reason why I use excellence is because it's easy for people to be here, right? Just a cop in a car, just there. I want every cop to strive for excellence every day they go out. You want to get promoted? You do excellence that day and you provide excellent customer service. That's how I'm going to look at who I want to promote for future leaders in the future. So delivering exceptional customer service is number 2. And then number 3 is recruit and hire great employees. So we're fortunate right now that we can kind of be a little picky. We have testings for police officers and we get 50 or 60, and we might take 10 out of that initial testing to the next phase because we're fortunate where people want to come work here, which I can't take credit for yet. Maybe in 6 months I can say people wanted to come work for the new leadership team at the police department, but I think hiring and recruiting helps us in succession planning down the road, developing future leaders. One of the things for me is, and I didn't realize this, even though I was Tom's right-hand man for a couple years, I didn't realize how much time we spend in police departments or fire departments, even for that matter, planning for the future. And I'm not talking about the next chief. I'm talking about 2 chiefs down the road. Who do I need to start developing to be chief in 10 years.
Wow.
It's weird that you think that way, but in order to maintain what you build as a police chief, you want to keep that going forever. When I retire, I want to make sure that I leave this place in great hands. So we're always planning, doing succession planning and planning for the future.
That's great news. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Oh, question, Bill.
Mounted units.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Mounted units.
Okay, so we started a mounted unit about 5 years ago, and we had, I think, 4 horses and 4 riders, and all of them have either retired. Our last one is retiring right now. So we still have a mounted unit, but we don't have anybody in the mounted unit. So we haven't taken the mounted unit off the table. But right now, it's one of those things where you have to have people that have a horse, because you have to use your own horse, and you have to have people who obviously are trained and can ride. And we have the availability of the whole county, the county-wide, because we were a part of that. So if we need it, I don't know if they'll be here for the street fair, but we don't have anybody on it right now.
Anybody else? Any last questions? We have time for probably 2 more questions. Will?
What's your thoughts on the Plaza Paseo as far as a permanent or temporary feature here in Boca?
Well, I can tell you, my wife and I come here every Friday morning, and we hang out at one of the places. Well, usually I play golf on Friday. When I'm not playing golf on Friday, my wife and I come down here, and we hang out. I like the Paseo personally. I don't have a vote, so I don't think I can give an opinion. My personal, as an Orange resident, I like it, but I also haven't been down here that much at night to see how it's impacted. The streets. I know that obviously I go to the council meetings, so I know that the buses and other things have been impacted by it. I also don't know. I haven't really looked that far into other, how other cities are doing with theirs. So yeah, it's tough for me to give my official opinion. As a resident, I like coming down here, but again, I also don't know how it affects all of your businesses, positively or negatively, so it's a little tough for me to say.
Yeah, and just so you guys out there know, the question was regarding the Plaza Paseo and it being a permanent fixture. Any other questions? Time for 1 or 2. Kathy Seelig. Kathy, and I will repeat your question just so that people can hear it. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy wanted to express her appreciation for the bike team. Tell us about the bike team, actually.
Yeah.
Like, how many people? What do they do? Where are they at?
So the bike team, they work, obviously because they're on bikes or on foot, they can go to a lot of areas easier than police in cars. Plus, if we're looking for specific people or things that are going on, they can kind of sneak around on bikes. Right now, they're primarily assigned to working homelessness. They work with our Heart team. We actually have 8 full-time police officers right now that are assigned specifically to homeless issues, and the bike team's part of that. But everybody loves seeing the bike team. I love the bike team.
How many people is that?
We have 4.
4?
If we could make it bigger, we would, but we have a lot of other needs. But they've been effective ever since it started, which I think it started actually as the downtown foot patrol. That was morphed into the bike team, and then we built up on it, and yeah, it's been great, so thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, one more.
I just want to first of all thank the Orange Police Department for their responsiveness, because when we do have some issues with homelessness, they have been fantastic and very responsive and very respectful to all concerned. My question is, what is the law on homelessness? Like what is it that business owners can do or should or should not do to help you all?
So the tough part on laws regarding the homeless is there's a court case. It's called Martin versus Boise, and that court case went against what every business owner would ever want, because it allows, and this is nationwide, it allows the homeless to sleep in public. So a lot of times when people call and say, hey, there's a homeless person sleeping in front of my business, we'll go, because we're going to go to those, and we're going to do whatever we can, because it's an opportunity for us to maybe get get some help for the homeless person. But legally, we can't do anything as long as they leave 3 feet of access for a wheelchair. So believe it or not, and a lot of people don't know this, it's legal for a homeless person to sleep on the sidewalk. And we can't, there's no enforcement for that. And we can tell, we can encourage people to move along. We can encourage people. We've got shelter options. We can encourage people, to find other places to sleep. But it's definitely frustrating. I know for you guys as business owners, for me as a resident, I mean, I'm in Orange 7 days a week, so I see it. I probably drive by your businesses, and one fortunate thing for me living in Orange is I have direct access to the people who need to go to those calls and deal with those. I actually did this morning at 5:30 in the morning. I was driving down Tustin, and I saw a homeless person that I didn't think they were in a good spot because I thought that business would probably be upset, and I called the captain and said, hey, can we send somebody up to see if we can help that person? So it's not illegal to be homeless. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there who think that homelessness we can end homelessness by housing, but the problem is that we keep running into is a lot of the homeless people don't want housing. So they just want to be homeless. So we work on it. Like I said, we have 8 people full-time every day. We're working on it. So trust me when I say we are out there. We care about your business. We care about the people that are just driving by, care about what it looks like. And we also care about the homeless people themselves.
Thank you. Well, we're kind of nearing the end of the hour. Is there anything finally you'd like to share with the business community? This is mostly our members here, our business community members, members at large or community at large, but we like to try to hone in sometimes very specifically on the business community.
Mm-hmm. I think I said it at some point. I care about our businesses. I care about this community. And that's the biggest thing for me is I'll give everybody in here my business card. Anybody who wants to talk to me, anybody who has a specific concern, I'm very accessible, and I think that's kind of it. I'm here for you. I'm here to make sure that your properties are safe, your businesses are safe, you're safe. And we'll do everything we can to make that happen. So that's my commitment to everybody in Orange. And if anybody wants to talk to me privately, separately, come by the office, meet up with me, invite me to your restaurant. More than happy to oblige. So, like I said, I'm down here quite a bit. So hopefully, wherever your businesses are, whether it's down here or elsewhere, I'd be more than happy to meet you guys.
Awesome. Chief Adams, thank you so much for your time. You're our first guest in over a year in person, so
awesome.
We hope this was a lovely experience for you and your team that came. Thank you to the team that came out from the department as well. Just a couple closing notes for everybody. So we have some announcements. A lot of events going on, everybody, so I hope you guys are ready. And these are all on our website, all on our social media. So we have our Board of Directors installation that's going to be tomorrow at Colery's at 11:30. Our business networking group has moved to in-person. That is also going to be at Colery's. That's a great way to meet new people. So if any of you here are newer to the chamber, newer to the community, or even if you've been here for a long time, it's a great way to bridge that gap between old members, new members, community, the whole thing. It's so fun. It's at noon at Colery's. We have our first member mixer in a long time, well over a year. September 23rd, that's going to be at South Coast College, 5 p.m. We have our next Eggs and Issues. I believe we're going to be, Mike, we're going to be here, right? Just joking. He's like, yes. Put him on the spot. I'm just joking with you. I believe our next Eggs and Issues is also going to be here as well. And it's going to be September 28th at 8 a.m. And we are hosting Jennifer Ward from the Orange County Business Council. So I hope you will all join us for that. Special thank you today to Mike from OC for hosting this delicious breakfast. I did sneak a piece of bacon before I got started. It was delicious. But you know they're known for their seafood, so please come on out here at night and visit them as well. And then also, as always, thank you so much to our Chairman's Circle sponsors. I am not going to attempt to say all of your names, but thank you so much. with that, we will see you next month. Thank you guys all for joining. We have some time to mix and mingle, so please stay and say hello, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Berkenda. That was great. Thank you. Did I talk too much?
Nope, you're perfect.
All right, good.